Risk Management Partnership of Mediapolis, Iowa. They've renewed for the football season. They were the first ones. So right now they're the exclusive sponsor of this episode. We've got Jeff Mills of Real Smart Highlights, and he covers, teams in this the Wise Musket team area, Columbus, and he's worked for a couple of papers. He has his own Real Smart Highlights videos that he does, and he's done some research. He's going to let us know a little bit about some of these teams that he covers.
I guess we'll start down the 8-man teams. So, you're talking Highland, Lone Tree. They're combining this year. They get first this year, but
I didn't have Down didn't have any info on that.
Tree from last year. But they kind of had a rough year.
Same with Highland, they couldn't even finish the years out. So
Highland, their team didn't even have a senior on it that really contributed as far as
stat-wise went last year. So that'll be a good thing coming for them. They got a lot of juniors that'll come back, seniors. That'll help out that team.
Lone Tree, like I said, I remember
Remember watching them when they had the Franklin boys. I did get to watch them play Wapwell once.
I think both them kids are young now.
Yeah, they had 10 kids that wanted to play last year.
Yeah.
They thought they're going to have 12 or something. I think they would have played.
Yeah.
But when a couple of them didn't show up, and they were down to 10, and they didn't have the season. Highland got the season going. I think they got 3 games in. And then, but they was having injuries, and then they was having freshmen having to play varsity that weren't ready for it and were getting hurt, and so they couldn't quite finish the season. And I think this is the best possible solution for both teams, because there's the makings of a good football team at Highland, and there's the makings of a good football team at Lone Tree. And I think if you combine them together, you have more, offensive linemen, more defensive linemen. And I think that was for certain, that was very much where Highland was kind of short on, because they had 110-pound guys, freshmen, playing right tackle by the time then the game was over. Where I think that Lone Tree, in particular, does have some boys with some size that can block. I knew they had some good receiving. They had some players. So, but I think that's a good thing for both of those schools. And I look for them to surprise somebody this year.
Yeah, I think that's, like I said, that's going to be good for both them teams. You got to be able to build a team. So putting them together was probably the best idea. And I'm looking forward to see how that goes for both these schools. Just some returning players that I had for Highland that have good years last year was their quarterback was Caleb Wheeler.
Yeah.
These are guys that just I seen reading on the stat sheets from last year. So Aiden Coder, maybe, and Tyler Pearson, Garrett Beeson was a quarterback, safety, and Jacob Snyder was another one. I remember watching him a little bit in basketball too. So I know he's a multi-sport athlete. There were some of the guys from Highland I had with them
that will be coming back next year.
can contribute for that team. So.
And by the way, we were at the Hy-Vee in Washington because we needed a place with air conditioning to do this interview.
Of course, I didn't research them too much, but I am a Demon fan, so.
Well, we'll get some coverage of the Demons for you, I promise. So we got that team out of the way. What else?
We got Waco.
Waco. Now there's a football team there, Waco.
Yeah, they went. They were 3-6, 2-3, but they did still end up making the playoffs somehow. They come down to Winfield and Waco or something, and if I remember right, both of them were at the bottom 4 of the 6 in the conference, and still slipped in and got in there. Winfield just missed out. They could have made it with the last game, and then losing.
Yeah, Winfield was short on players. I don't think that was Waco's particular problem, but you get some great athletes coming through, and they do great for a long time, and it's not uncommon to have kind of a reset year, or maybe some younger kids that got to play this last year. Will maybe some of that will show up this year.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about Waco.
So, kids that they lost last year was their quarterback, Nick West, the defensive end.
Nick West was a multi-sport athlete, really good basketball player,
Good quarterback, and then he had
now it's Reichenbach. He's a great kicker, and he was a running back and defensive back last year. And I also had Trey Edeker.
Mitchell Edeker, he was a great player and a really good defensive end, I think.
Yes.
Yep, defensive end, and then you got to talk about Big Adam
Stafford.
Is he graduated?
Yeah, he
That's sad because I love that.
But he,
The bearded mountain.
yeah, yep. So you know that's a big key piece of the line you're gonna miss for sure because he's a big boy.
Awesome landing. But the guys that got coming back, this is a big one is Hayden Shelton. That kid, I watched him play up at Winfield and he put on some highlight reels that blew my mind, spinning around guys and
Just putting out stiff arms and stuff. So I don't know. I had a question mark on whether he'd be playing quarterback.
he did play quarterback a little bit last year, so maybe he'll be taking Nick West's place, you know.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yep, somebody's got to step in there.
So I'm not really sure.
But he was a great running back.
Yes, yes.
And he really gained. I mean, he gained a lot of yards, and it was up there in his stats and stuff.
And then you got Sam Meyer, Casey Coakley, and Teague Pepper. All these guys were leaders in the stat department, whether it was on offense or defense. And them were some of the guys I had marked down.
They're coming back as contributors last year.
They also had an 8th grader last year that was like 7'9" or something like that. I don't think quite 9, but pretty close to 7 foot.
Waco?
Yeah.
I'm not
He
sure.
was. I did a JV game of theirs.
Oh,
And, I mean, wow. So they do got some big kids coming, and they'll, you know, Coach Edeker's going to have them boys ready to play, and he's probably won as many playoff games as anybody in the last. This will be our 6th year doing this. So, and Waco was one of our original schools, and
Yeah, we've seen some good Waco teams over the years.
we certainly have.
And then we'll go ahead and Winfield. That's our last 8-man team.
Okay, Winfield Mount Union.
Yeah, the Wolves, they were 2-5, 2-3 in top for district, and they finished in 5th place right behind Waco.
So they missed out on.
They lost Nick Sparrow, the Birdman, as he likes to call him.
The Birdman of Alcatraz.
And then you know the big
Tight end, Max Edwards is gone, so the last of the Edwards boys. We won't get to hear the Edwards connection ever again. Well, I guess we didn't get to hear it last year either.
Well, maybe they'll have some kids when we work it out.
Yeah, and Grant Anderson.
Now, there was 2 Anderson boys
Yes. You know,
that I remembered.
The other one,
is only a junior this year, so he's got 2 more years left.
Well, I'm telling you. Oh, so will Grant be back?
Yeah, Grant will not be
Oh,
back.
so Grant won't be back, but his brother will be back. But them were good football players, man. I watched them play against Iowa Valley,
Yeah.
and just because it was a Thursday night game and I was able to get there. But them boys played some good football, man. They were up against a really good team, and they were excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Both of them. And then Gabe Cummings was a great lineman for him last year, and he graduated. So.
All right.
But they do got Cody Milks coming back at quarterback, so that's a good thing.
Smooth as silk,
Yeah.
Cody Mills.
He had a pretty good junior year. Losing Max Edwards, but this Graham Hain kid, come up as an 8th grader for the baseball team. I seen him play this year also as a freshman. He was a backup quarterback. He came in when Milks got hurt last year for a little bit, played quarterback. So he's got the experience, and he's a talented kid. And he plays multiple sports. But he's a great baseball player too. So I think
I'd like to hear that.
they'll utilize him somehow. I'm sure on the offensive side of the ball, trying to get him the ball somehow for the Milks. But another big one coming back would be his senior year, Taysom Samuels. He's a little Julian Edelman type of wide receiver. You get him out of the slot, you know, out of the backfield and get him the ball.
Well, they like to throw the ball over there.
Excuse me, yeah. He can do great things. And Kate Sweezer, another kid who can do some things on offense, and White Palmer on the defensive side, on the defensive line. That'll be a big one too.
Well, it sounds like they've got some. Now, last year, I don't think it was talent they were short on. I think it was players they were short on, and they had some injuries. And I noticed the schools that are short on players have a lot of injuries. You know, because you're going both ways, and maybe even special teams too, and it just you know puts a lot of strain on your body.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
It seems like a lot of the schools around in my area are either struggling with that or very close to it, but some of them are coming out of it, you just never know. Like I don't know tree. But at least they get to play. That's the main thing. We'll go into the Class A, and the first team that I have marked down here would be Van Buren County.
Warriors.
Yeah.
They got some good players.
They do. They did lose Caden Simmons, who
He was a good one. He was a real good one. That was the first one I was going to see if he was coming back or not.
Yep, he will not be back. But
He was a running back. He was just a machine. He had a big game. I remember one time 5 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. He was definitely one of the leaders last year. Defensive lineman, Cole Mellinger, Ethan Kochner?
I think it's Cochran.
Cochran? Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Some of these names I apologize.
Yeah, it's all right.
Jaden Pilcher and Cameron Elton.
So those will be coming back.
Yeah, oh no,
None of those are coming back. Wow, that's a lot of them.
Yeah, none of those guys are coming back.
What do we got for coming back, guys?
Now you're talking the quarterback will be back.
Oh, Will Cochran.
Yep.
Cockrell.
And Quade Harriman, who's the tight end defensive end. Jace Duncan.
Jace Duncan was a big time player.
Yep. And Kate Miller. And I had for linebacker Alex Scott. Like I said, these are guys that just let on the stat sheet. So.
Well, God bless you for covering these small schools. It's tough.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much covers them.
Okay.
Oh, Aiden Denver.
Yeah, was that? I've seen that name.
Yeah, he's a sophomore.
Young.
He was a freshman last year.
So
He's
he's
going to be
on.
a sophomore. Yeah, he could have a breakout.
But that's the beautiful thing about going to a small school is that you can see the varsity as a freshman or a sophomore. Where, when I played, there was 93 kids on the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, I was lucky to be on second team.
Right.
Because there was 5 kids.
Yeah.
You could be on the 15th. I got to play some, but I'm just saying, if I'd have been at Pekin, I played all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, most of these teams can't even show the JV team. Back then, we had the varsity and the JV team. They
Yeah.
consisted of juniors and seniors. Yeah, I feel like you, brother. So that A team is here to Wackalo, where I lived for a few years. They lost quite a bit of talent this year. And one would be their quarterback, Rowan Atkinson, and he's also a defensive back that was stellar player.
They really had a good year last year, I thought.
They did. They went 5-3, finished in 3rd place, made the playoffs, but ended up playing in Linville slowly.
Yeah.
And they're a really good team. I went up to that game. It wasn't pretty.
Well, yeah, but they made the playoffs, and I think that was the first time. That was certainly the best performance they had, and a lot of that's because this running back, I'm sure we're going to be talking about,
Yeah.
that they have, and they still have him, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they do. Like I said, Atkinson is going to University of Dubuque. He will continue playing college football. So.
And they lost Justin
Faulkner, who's another star wide receiver for Atkinson. So that's like a 1-2 combo punch that they have. They're both gone. But there are a lot of guys that can step up and fill in the role. Grant Wilson, Garrett Cooley, Wyatt Marlette, Tucker Fisk. I think Fisk might be playing football somewhere too. If I remember right.
He was a good one. He was a real good one. I really enjoyed walking on last year.
Yep. They had a great year, great season.
But they got a lot of guys coming up too that can do things like we talked about. Grayson Crow, I think, will be their quarterback
This year, he backed up Atkinson last year. Did pretty good. He only come in. He'll be a junior. But your guy, Eddie
Vasquez, my man, Edgar Vasquez, man, he is. I saw him rush for like 235 yards and 5 touchdowns against Pekin in the JV game. And I said to myself, wow, Wapolo's got something cooking here.
Yeah.
And he's going to be back. Now, Faulkner's a huge loss. But as far as weapons for your quarterback.
Yeah.
But as long as you got a guy that you can get the ball to that can move the chains and keep it going, you always got a chance. You know what I mean? And I think he'll be, what, a sophomore or a junior?
He'll be a junior.
He'll be a junior, so, he's really starting to hit his peak here.
And he had a big season last year.
Oh, man.
He started as a sophomore.
But he had some good linemen,
Yeah.
And you had a pretty good defense.
That's true.
I thought that was, I think that was maybe where they weren't as good in some of the years prior, was on the defensive side, because they give up a lot of points. They did not. And there was a lot of group tackling, and it just seemed like the whole scheme was better.
For sure. And Vasquez was part of that on the defensive side, as well as this Tony. That's a kid. He'll be back for his senior year. He finished 6th at the state wrestling tournament this year. Strong kid. He's a fullback, so he gets the ball and runs behind Vasquez too. but he can break it open. He can bust one off anytime. And
With Faulkner being gone, you're going to have some receivers that need to step up. And
Kenneth Rettenberger got hurt last year, but he was set up for a junior year that could have been great too, but he hurt his leg, broke it, I think, or something, so he wasn't able to play. So that brought in this freshman, Kenan Lands, who's going to be a sophomore. And he had a big year too. Atherton got him the ball off, and he had that breakout year last year, and I expect big things from him again this year too. And seen him run up at the state track meet this year, so he's got speed. Good kid.
Well, if you're wanting to get me excited about football, you're doing it.
And then, as far as linemen go, Dane Hogue, who comes back, and Grayson Nagel. Both strong kids, big kids, so they can fill in, for Fisk and Marlette on the line. So they got a chance to be good again this year. I'm looking forward to watching them again this year. I think they can still be a good team and maybe even make the playoffs. We can go to next over to.
I can't believe we have to cover all these teams.
I don't necessarily have to cover all these teams, but I wanted to.
But these are teams he wants to do. I mean, Jeff really out there with his heart on his sleeve, driving, staying up late, looking for scores. You're the best, Jeff.
I try, buddy. I try and get people interested and into it. So that's what we do, brother. We'll get into your team. One of your teams, Pekin.
Well, I like Pekin.
Yeah.
Scotty Mullins coaching.
I
For
heard
Pekin,
that.
he's over there. He's in the weight room every morning.
That's awesome.
He's got some good reports for me. I know they went to Simpson College. Probably losing a little bit, but they got Henry Adams coming back.
Yep.
Well, I'll let you
No,
tell the story.
you go ahead.
I know you know a little bit about him.
Well, I'm excited. I have high hopes for him.
They did lose quite a few guys. I see Riley Smith and Nolan Glick, Landon Crow,
Reed Lauderman, Cal Miller. All
Those
these
are good ones. That come out a big, strong player, man.
Yeah.
The big offensive lineman, and they have for the last few years had a pretty stellar offensive line, and I think that's something that Coach Weber's pretty good at putting together. That you hate to lose those big guys, but hopefully they'll get some guys put in there and be able to keep Henry Adams upright, and so he can make things happen.
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts on all it too. I don't know enough about PJ.
So they're going to have to get a new quarterback, and I'm not sure what the plan is.
Yeah, I didn't know if maybe Adam might be that guy or
That was what his brother Will, was this great receiver, and sometimes they use him in the running back, but there was an injury or something, and he was able to run that team pretty well, and boy was he elusive. I mean, they'd rush him and he'd backspin and come up with stuff and improvise. And Riley Smith was more a pocket passer. He just kind of executed the plays. That was kind of his style there, and get the ball to Henry Adams. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you put him at quarterback, yeah, he can run his stuff, but can't throw to him. And
It'd be a question.
somebody can hand the ball to him because he is one fantastic athlete. Well, who else we got?
I had Elijah Brock and Aiden Porter were a couple names. Like I said, I don't
Elijah Brock's a great receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, he's as good as anyone that we've talked about today. He's up there with the Faulkners, and that was the thing is they'd put Henry on one side and Brock on the other, and I know they got this. He's got a younger brother too, Elias Brock, that's also a great receiver.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I meant to write down, but no,
No, he's still there. He was a
Elijah
junior
was-
this year.
okay.
Yeah, Elijah's still there.
they both ran at the state track meet, and I got a chance to meet them for the first time today. But yeah, I knew
Yeah,
they were
good
still-
boys.
Yeah, nice kids.
Real good kids and real good athletes, and really, really focused on their athletics.
But that's all I had on Pekin. I think they're probably going to get forced again if they can, find missing pieces. Pekin's Pekin. It seems like Pekin's been really good.
Well,
the past couple years.
we went through we got a pretty tough stretch until we hired Coach Weber.
Yeah.
I mean, we were state champions and had all this winning all the time, and then I don't know, it was just an era there where maybe we just didn't have the right coaching, or we didn't have the right players, or we didn't have the right players in the right positions, or there was injuries, or whatever it was. But Coach Weber took over a team that hadn't won a game in 3 years. and I don't think he won a game his first year. But then, you know, 3 wins out of 4 at home, and they're losing some road again. They start winning games on the road, and then they're going to the playoffs, and then they're going to the second round of the playoffs. You know, so they've been stepping forward. Coach Weber's done a great job.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Time will tell, right? We got what, a month to go before we get to find some of this stuff out. But we can go to Danville.
Danville,
And they were
the Bears, the Bears.
they're a playoff team, and I think they finished behind Pekin and maybe second behind Pekin, if I remember right.
It seemed like they were.
The
I think they were playing with Mount Pleasant for several years, and then I think it was 3 years ago
Yeah.
that they come back to play football on their own, and they were excellent right off the bat, first year.
Yeah.
And they've had some great players, but I think they're losing some players.
They are. They lost a quarterback, Dylan Mason, and then Byers Neely was.
Flyers Neely was so good all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, Scotty was wishing that kid was his son, I think.
Good.
So-
Drake Belzer, Trevor Yaley, Trevor Heenan, sorry.
All these guys, I had
Highlights of, when I covered the game versus Buffalo. So I knew they could contribute, and they all did on the stat sheet. And they were great players, especially that Neely kid, man.
he's really impressive.
Well, he's gonna leave some big shoes to fill.
And coming back though, you got a kid like Colin Vaughn, and man, that kid, he was very impressive. Not only on the offense but
defensive
linebacker. He's kind of like a fullback type guy on the offensive side of the ball, but I think he scored a couple touchdowns. I watched, and he just reminds me. He wears that big neck pad, back behind a linebacker. He reminds me of one of them old school football linebackers. I don't know, Mike Singletary.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
One of
like
them
the
type
old
guys. But he's
Pittsburgh
a
Steelers,
big kid. and
Lambert.
Big strong kid, but he's gonna have a great year. And then Ty Frazier was another big wideout for him last year. He had some great games for him. Tate Sherwood, Maddox, Fernald, Lane Lambert, Tate Sherwood. All these guys had big numbers last year.
So they do have a good core of guys coming back, and you're always going to be losing guys.
Yeah.
That's what high school is. Just build it up, tear it down, start over, build it up, tear it down, and hopefully everybody stays healthy. But is that it, or you got any others?
No, that was all I had for them. Like I said,
they're a playoff team. I think they're going to be good again this year.
Well, I'm agreeing with you, and they'll probably give Pekin a pretty good run for its money. Well, what about, are you covering Columbus Junction?
I am. That's my last day team. So
Okay.
they lost quite a few guys too. Their quarterback, Trevor Phillips. Shout out to you, kid. They're slower now. Jason Doppler, Angel Anichin, Tyson Calberg, Elliot Wesley, Drew Tugmeyer. All these guys are big names for
Yeah.
Yeah. Key guys for them. Their
A great
quarterback.
kicker. I know he went on.
Oh, Gabriel Sanita. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to kick for some college.
He went to Ellsworth.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my neighbor. So yeah, they lost quite a few guys, but they do have Lamar Sion coming back, who was state track champion in hurdles, 110 hurdles, and super fast kid. I think he's sophomore. He didn't have quite the success he did last year returning kicks, but I think he returned 6 touchdowns for his sophomore year, returning kicks. So,
Well, teams will focus on you after you start doing that.
yeah, that's exactly. The team started saying, yeah, we're not going to do that.
We're just not going to cover anybody else. We'll just try and see if we can
Yeah.
put something on this
We
cat.
won't kick to that kid anymore. But yeah, Fritz Figaro is another big
Yeah,
strong kid.
I know his name very well.
Ronald Villegas on the line, as far as offensively and defensively, will be a big asset for him, and Fritz Messi on. Them are the guys they got coming back as far as a core. But they got some young guys coming in too that I think are going to contribute this year for the breakout seasons. They didn't really contribute a lot last year because they had upperclassmen. But Ruben Rendon maybe has a shot at that. Juan Montero, he's a good little wrestler. And see him wrestle on the high school level, but not on the football field. But we'll see what that has to happen. And the last kid, another neighbor of mine, is mine's blanking. I'll get back to that. But question I had on him is who's going to be the next quarterback. Because Phillips was a great quarterback. They didn't throw the ball a whole lot, but they did run the ball quite a bit. And when Trevor Phillips got the chance to throw, he made it count. So there's a lot of seniors gone. Who's going to step up? Phil Rolls for first left. That's what I wrote down for him.
You got any bigger schools or?
Yep, we can talk about the big ones now.
We got the big ones coming. Let's pull out the big ones.
Now we'll talk about my alma mater, and one of the papers I write for is L&M. And man,
Okay.
they had a rough go out here.
Well, I really like their coach. Actually, it's my neighbor. What's his name?
Joe Donovan.
Yeah, Joe Donovan. Man. He coached Pekin, and he turned Pekin around
Yeah.
from a loser into a winner. And it's not the only school that he's
Lone
played
Tree.
for. Lone Tree, yeah, he turned them into winners. And there was another school before that he was at. But he took over this job last minute. You know, I mean, literally last minute, like a week or something before the season, maybe 2 weeks, but somewhere in that 2 weeks to 1 week thing, they didn't have anybody. He stepped up and he did something I really liked. The schools, if you don't go to the playoffs, you're allowed to schedule another game. And I think it was the Cedar Knights or something like that. But they scheduled the 7th game, or the 9th game or whatever that they played, and they got the win. And they broke a 64-game losing streak, and really my hat's off to Joe Donovan for finding a way. You know, he found a way. And they actually got off to a pretty good start, and they did have some guys that put up some pretty good numbers. Maybe you kind of go over that with them.
Yeah, that was their first win, like you said, like 64 game, 5 years to end the season.
And they're a 2A school, which I don't.
Are they 2A?
Are they or they one? You might.
I think they may have wrote that down.
Well,
They're
they
not
might-
2A. They're with
yeah,
the
they're-
Union Catholic. And
Yeah, they play. I mean, they play the
They play one of the toughest districts.
Sigourney or something like that too. I think.
Eddyville, Blakesburg.
Yeah, they.
It's a tough go.
Wilton, yeah, I mean that's just there's not a lot of wins there for any school. I don't know why. Sometimes I just don't understand why. I mean, I think if Wampolo was in there, you know.
Well, they do get to play Wapello, I believe, maybe in the opening game in the
Yeah,
conference.
okay,
And
well-
I think LM could beat them this year. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the why. They lost Cedric Lamb, who was their quarterback last year, but they didn't really have a pass game, and they just stuck to running the ball most of the time. Hayden Cantrell, they lost a big kid. He's going to Cornell to play, big lineman. But Mason Zeringer is another somewhat of a running back, a linebacker, more of a big linebacker. But those were the 3 seniors that are gone. But they got a class of sophomores that'll be or class of freshmen that'll be sophomores this year that are stellar athletes. They're really good, and their quarterback is going to be a sophomore, Walker Riggett. Come in at the end of games last year, you know, when they were either getting blown out or whatever. And he would come in and he just lead them right down the field, passing the ball. And then it was to his, younger classmen. He'd go down and score a touchdown with a couple minutes left. And I understand that a lot of times that may have been against backup defense or whatever. But I watched this kid play all the way from 7th or 8th grade all the way up to now, and he's talented. He placed 6th at the state wrestling tournament as a freshman. He's a talented kid, and I think you're going to see some great things from that kid this year because he's got kids like Owen Pugh coming back, Jackson Wykin, and then senior Gage Carter, who was kind of a quarterback, but quarterback / running back. But he's a big, strong kid. I played with his dad. He wears number 6, just like Mike. But he can. If they got a quarterback, I think that's going to open him up for a lot of things. I think the L&M team's going to be a lot better this year.
Well, you're always better in the second year. The coach puts in a new system. They got a new coach. He puts in a new system, and you just don't learn that system in the first couple games. You know, it takes
Especially when
some
it
time.
comes out a week before the season starts. You're trying
And
to-
they did have some. They did, some games. They had some games where they played very well, but then they get, it's Regina one. Like,
Virginia Catholic.
and then they go to state or something like that. I mean, I mean, like, I don't, Weyerhaeuser, Gina Calyx, it's a big school, and O&M's,
Yeah.
you know.
It's tough. It's got to be tough playing in that district. But you do want to go out there and do what you
But
can do.
maybe they'll realign, not this year, but next year.
Next year.
And so maybe things will get better.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just wait things out, and it gets better.
A couple other kids that will help them out is Street Greens and Bo Hake. Bo Hake was another state best coach. Finished third in the state this year. So you got, in order to wrestle, you got to be a tough kid. That's probably going to help you out.
It's hard to disagree with that.
And so, I'm looking forward to watching them 2 times this year. I think they're going to be a lot better team. Central League.
Central Lee, the Hawks. We got a lot of fans in Central Lee.
Yeah.
And, it seems like the last couple of years they win like the first 3 or 4 games of the year, but then they're like L&M, they get into their 2A school, and they get into playing the big schools, and it just seems like week after week it just gets tougher and tougher.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they finished 2-6 last year, but we're 2-5 in the district. So you're playing Mediapolis and all them other West Burlington and all them other big schools.
It's tough.
You just never know.
I think they beat Fort Madison last year.
Yeah. They competed with it. I don't know. They just couldn't.
They had a lot going for them. It's been tough at the back end of the season, but
Yeah.
they're going to need to get into a different conference at some point to get to the top of the division.
They lost Ward Fraze, who's a running back and defensive back, and then Owen Word. Another one, Peter Saba had circle. He must have been a really good player, and Will Hayes. But they got the quarterback coming back and
Will Hayes was a good one for them.
Yeah. And Connor Boyd, Odin Mullins, who's a big defensive lineman. I had him circled. He must have had a good year defensively, and he's a tight end. And Max Jones. So those were your leaders on the stat sheet last year. But be interesting to see what they do.
Is that Blake Davis? He doesn't play football? Or? Yeah, good baseball player.
Is this your water?
I mean, he is a really good baseball player. I think he's getting college. He's going to probably play college ball. He's a terrific baseball player. So, shout out to Blake.
Okay. And we'll finish off here. I got a couple more here with Mediapolis.
All right. Well, there's a school that plays football.
They lost Gannon Gunn, Nathan Schmidl, Tyler Crow, who, man, that kid was a strong kid. Parker Holstein, and Creighton Lane.
So they were all good players. Every one of those are good players.
Yeah. So they
The
lost.
Gatling gun.
Yeah. That is your, I like that. Well, they finished 5-5.
Guns a-blazing.
3-3. They did make the playoffs, and they
He was trying to get our attention,
final
but we didn't
round.
notice we got
Ended up facing Mid Prairie. And Mid Prairie got better than the confident team. They were good. But they had a great year still. Borison. Something about them Borison teams. They're always
They're always well prepared, and they always do what they do so well is the basics. You know what I mean? Just the tackling and the blocking and all those, just those basic things that maybe they're boring to practice or whatever, but his teams never fail to do them well.
Yep. And that's what it takes. But yeah, I've always appreciated Coach Borison and then the way he coaches them guys. But they got Quincy King I had wrote down. He'll be their quarterback next year, I believe. Don't quote me on that because I'm not the coach, but that's what I had.
I'll have to call Borison and tell him, don't make Jeff look bad.
And then Evan Schultz, Wyatt Vox, I believe, on the line, and Brock Spears were some names I had wrote down again.
They come back, they contributed last year, and they're going to be big players this year.
So it'll be interesting to see because it was kind of one of them. They lost a lot. They got a few coming back. What's going to happen?
But they got it together, and they did do well in the playoffs.
Yeah, they seem to always make the playoffs. So who knows? I wish them the best. I've always enjoyed watching Bulldog football. So
Anything else? Or?
we can do West Burlington, and that's it.
West Burlington, wow, I didn't expect to get this one, but I didn't expect to get all these teams that you got in there, but you got some good ones.
Yeah, they were 3-5 and 1-4 in the conference last year. They had some good years prior before that. They did lose a kid from Burlington, Notre Dame, who was playing. They combined, with West Burlington, but Cale Cook and Joe Glendinning.
Glendenning?
Yeah. Sorry. And Michael Haddon, who's linebacker. Those were the main guys, but they got a lot of guys coming back. So I think this team's going to be much improved. Kellen Porter is the brother of Brigham Porter, who was a great basketball player. We watched him.
I remember him.
Yeah. He's just a sophomore. Another state qualifier in track for high jump. He's a big, tall kid. So he's a guy they can get the ball to, a wide receiver. I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. Jaden Nathan is a running back. He had 1,276 rush yards last year. So as a junior or as a sophomore, so he can run the ball well. And Sam Dzawo, D-Z-A-W-O.
As close as I could come.
I had your name wrote down, boy. If I messed it up, I apologize. Sorry. Tatum Warner, Justin Nupp, tight end linebacker, and then Glendenning. Glendenning.
And I'm not 100%, but I think that's how you say it.
Must be Joe's younger brother, though, Jared. But he's a junior. And Garrett Pence. All them guys were good players for the Falcons last year. So they got a lot of guys coming back. So.
Well, I certainly thank you for coming. If I'd have known you were going to wear that colorful shirt, I would have tried to match you a little bit on that one.
I have to rap a little bit.
Is there anything else you want to tell our listeners about the football season, other than you're excited?
I am excited, man. I can't wait to get out there and get some highlights, get these kids
Have you heard of any scrimmages or anything scheduled? I think Fort Madison seemed to have something
I haven't
that they
even
might be able to do.
that far ahead yet, but I know Washington usually always does.
Do you know when they? I think it's not until August that they can actually practice. And they had a week where they could do a camp. I know, like I say, the Pekin boys went out to Simpson College.
Okay. This is like dead week. I know this week.
Yeah, you can't talk to them. You can't, and I think that's a good thing too. And I'm nearly dead this week. But we're persevering on for you, and we'll have a great football season for you, and we'll have a scoreboard show for you. And I've got kind of an exciting idea for a show I'm gonna talk to Jeff off camera about. I don't know if I can pull this off or not, but I think we might be doing some really fun beat around guy shows. Thanks for being with us, and good luck all these teams in the football season. We'll definitely be covering y'all.